Hello, everybody. It's James with another CEO Jimbo playlist for you. Again on Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, Boeing 777 that disappeared just about 10 years ago, um, somewhere in the world. It took off from Kuala Lumpur, um, Malaysia, heading to Beijing, China, and disappeared. This is my report on my latest research that I've done on this. I'm writing a book on the subject, and I have been working on the subject of um, uh, witnesses for the last 2 weeks. This is section 1 of my book, chapters 1 through 4. I have this map. I just worked a little bit on this a few minutes ago, added the blue coloring, and I did the scale on it too. The distance between Kuala Lumpur and Phuket, Indonesia is 2.5 inches. That's here's where the plane originated, Kuala Lumpur. And it was going to China. It just happens to, this just seems to be kind of a large city, and I found information on it. So anyway, 1 inch is roughly 300 miles. So 1 inch, here's an inch. So that's roughly 300 miles between the 0 and the 1 here. Here's Kuala Lumpur. There's 100 miles out there. So if I drew a circle around it, this would be like a 100-mile circle right here. Anyway, that's not a bad idea. I'm gonna draw a circle next time, maybe. Seems like most of my information is on the Maldives. This was really fascinating this time. There was a little bit of information, which is kind of some interesting stuff about here, this area, the Kota Baru, the Sea of Thailand area, Sea of Thailand, South China Sea. This is my list right here of what I plan to include on this video here. I just sat down just after I worked on the map a little bit, and I just put these items that came to my head of what I thought was really kind of interesting, worth including in here. First one, and I really didn't even save any excerpts on this, and it wasn't related to witnesses that much, but it was kind of wild. Somebody put forth that the captain of the flight, this Captain Zahari, parachuted out of the plane and was met in a boat by his new girlfriend, and so on, which is really sort of a wild story. I don't know that there's too much evidence that that's what happened. Second one is tipped over lifeboat nuance. Under my map here, this is Kuala Lumpur, where the plane took off, and it took off heading for China, came up to this Igari intersection, and the news was reporting fairly right away, within like a few hours to a few days, that there was a possible lifeboat that was found, spotted from the air. And I think that was kind of like right in this area. It was like just right off the coast of Vietnam, in the South Sea of Thailand area. And it was reported that it was like upside down. And two things about that kind of like catch my attention on it. One is that it seems like it's unlikely that the plane could have like crashed or landed in this area and had all of the parts end up in Africa way down here. They would have had to kind of go down here to wherever, and then up to however they get to Africa. So it's unlikely. I guess they go all the way down to, towards the west coast of Australia and then come up to Africa or something like that. If the plane ended up here and all those parts floated that, there was the flapper on, there was flap, engine nacelles and that kind of stuff. And it seems like it would have really traveled a long way around a lot of land masses to, and through, areas that are full of ships and stuff like that to make it that far. The other item about that, the flipped over part is kind of like curious, or what do you call it? Almost suspect, because I suspect that the plane possibly crashed. I mean, that a landing attempt was made by the pilot is what I visualize, and that he was trying to land in the choppy seas here in the South Andaman Sea, and the plane flipped over on its back, like this. And if you've watched my previous videos, I've mentioned it many times that there was a witness that was flying along this route in a commercial jet and said she saw what she thought was the wings and the tail of the aircraft on the water. And I think the reason that the fuselage wouldn't have been seen is on the Malaysian flight plane. This is gray and the wings are like white. And so the gray would have blended in with the water and it would have just looked like the wings and the tail. And you wouldn't have seen vertical fin because the vertical fin would have been, deep into the water on the other side of the fuselage. I think also that possibly the engines were broken off and gone. And so it might not have looked like it was the bottom of the plane because the engines weren't there. But anyway, it seems suspect that they reported that the lifeboat upside down. It's almost like that they knew that the airplane was upside down, and it's almost like a diversion, backfire or something like that to get people not talking about the plane upside down or something like that. I don't know. I don't have any evidence that that there's any correlation between a possible upside down airplane and a possible upside down lifeboat. I think they later have kind of said that the lifeboat was not a lifeboat after all, but it was something else. But that's a common story, that they were saying that they kind of a spherical thing ended up on the Maldives, and they were saying that people were first saying that they thought that it was a fire suppression bottle from the airplane, and then they were saying, no, that's not what it is. And as time goes on, people are coming back to saying, yeah, it really kind of maybe is, and so forth. So this kind of throws the whole thing but for a loop. If this was a real lifeboat from that airplane, it's like, how on earth would those parts have got to Africa if the plane like crashed here? That just gets me further baffled. It seems like if the plane landed upside down in the water here in the choppy seas, it's less baffling because the parts maybe snuck away from the busy shipping channel. I don't know how they would have gone through the Maldives, south through or above the Maldives, but then down to Africa, and not that far. That's about where they were found, kind of just off the map there. So anyway, back to this thing. This is very extemporaneous. I envision this being totally different. I've watched 2 different videos on this week on the very airplane 9M MRO. That's the N number of it. I think 9 is like there must be 9 countries that have M on, or they're the 9th country, that has M or something like that, and then it's MRO or something like that. But there's a video, one of them, that there's a person sitting right about here where my finger is with the camera shining on you can see the aileron and flap as the airplane like takes off, I think. And then there's another video of it, somebody sitting here looking out on the wings and so on. The most interesting thing of that whole thing is that one of those videos, not both of them, landed on an airport called Kota Kinabalu or something like that, Kinabalu, which is clear over here off the chart in Indonesia. And so that airplane that we're talking about that's missing, I don't know if it frequently landed over here in Indonesia, but it has. So the crew probably has landed over there. I'm getting a picture. There's kind of evidence that the airplane got it. I mean, it took off from Kuala Lumpur, got to the Igari intersection, and immediately descended to very low altitude and was flying around Kota Baru. There's an airport here, and a fisherman said he saw that the airplane low cruising around there. It sounds like maybe he was like trying to land here, but the airplane was just so disabled, sort of like the United Airlines flight that tried to land in, where was that? Sioux City, Iowa. There was also a DHL flight that was trying to land in Iraq, in Baghdad, that were having control problems, and both of those flights landed with kind of there was kind of some damage, some fatalities on the United, but anyway, it sounds like maybe this flight was kind of in the same situation. There's evidence that maybe it was like trying to land over here in the Maldives, where it basically kind of went from here, couldn't quite figure out how to land here with the control problems, climbed up over here. Somebody saw it from the rig, and then it came over here. Somebody saw it from a sailboat. And then it was like down here really low, like it was trying to land. And that brings us into this one here, remote Maldives Island. Did I cover the one above? Gee, this thing above it here is, there's a video on YouTube, which I haven't seen yet, I don't think, is somebody did a, using a flight simulator program, did a flight or something like that of a 777 flying at 1,500 feet, 215 knots, kind of cruising around Baru, kind of pretending like they were MH370 or something like that, in trouble. So I'm trying to watch that. I don't know what, I punched something there. For 13 minutes, I got to kind of get moving here. Anyway, from my reading here, this is the shape of one of the islands. There's actually several islands in the Maldives range, and this is just sort of stylized and not really representing of them. But one of the islands is kind of long and thin like this. There's an airport here, but the airport is only for like commuter airliners at most, and it wasn't even there on the day that this plane was cruising. But the odd thing that catches my attention is that there's a population of only like 20 people, and there's like 5 cars on this island or something like that. And it seems to me that after having trouble trying to land this plane that has hydraulic problems or fly-by-wire problems or whatever, and isn't getting in here where there's like dense population and stuff like that, even Kuala Lumpur is not that far away, but this is like a big city, I think. And it's almost like he maybe climbed up, cruised over here, and then was trying it over here, because there is an airport. There's a big Male Maldives is the capital, and I think that probably has a big airport for 777s and stuff like that. But seems almost like he was maybe trying to land on this island, like this island is a airstrip, with no people on it to speak of, and like maybe he was like trying to like use it as a runway or something like that. It's a archipelago, so there's actually I think there's water in the middle of it here. There's like there's like water down the middle, with like land on all the sides. Almost like a donut with water in the donut hole area or something like that. And maybe he was trying to like land it down that, even in the water or something like that. So that's it's moving right along on that. Parts in midair. We mentioned that is that the only way you could have parts here realistically is another airplane, and some people speculate that maybe that there was a midair collision and that there was another plane that kind of went down here. It which could work. I mean, if this plane flipped over on its back and sunk into the bottom here, it's possible that there was another plane here. But what airplane? Who's missing in addition to MH370? There was a Saudi Arabia 777 white and blue that was known to have come in and landed in this area. I don't know where it was coming from, but it was like landing in male Maldives or something like that on that morning. And my question is, was there just one plane flying around this area on that morning, or was like MH370, flying around trying to land on that island like I was telling you about, kind of from one end to the other end, while the Saudi Arabia 777 flight came in and landed at Male or something like that? I think that it's possible. It seems to me that both happened. I mean, 777s fly all the time. I mean, if you look at Boston, I mean, I live in Boston and Dorchester, and I see, just a steady stream of planes coming in, and, it seems like one in about 20 is like a 777. So it seems like if one 777 is doing all that in trouble with a broken radio and all that kind of thing, another one might kind of come in and land. So my 2 cents on that. And Coconut Guy, biggest coconut. That's back to Kota Baru. This was a fisherman that was out at sea. When I first heard about this, Wikipedia made it sound like this fisherman guy was like on the shore looking out over the water. But then later I've discovered that, somebody's even given the distance of how far he was from the town here of Kota Baru and what direction and so on, which put him like almost right where this Igari is and where the plane sort of disappeared. Anyway, he's the guy that said that the plane was so low that the windows were about the size of coconuts. So we're at 18 minutes. This has got to be the finale here. I just did this. I got my hole puncher out. You know what a hole puncher looks like, and I did that. And I didn't even show you my book. I was going to show you on my tablet, but here's a hole punch. If I can do this one-handed. I didn't try to do this one-handed. Oh, man. I don't know how this is going to really come out either. I was just kind of playing with it, and this has to be extemporaneous in itself. But here's a hole punch. I got this out of my hole puncher little catcher here. And so this is like a coconut here that I'm holding up. And they basically said that somebody said that coconuts in Malaysia are bigger than coconuts in like Hawaii. And then there's kind of discussion as to how much of the coconut was. It sounds like it was maybe a coconut fully in its husk that he was holding up. But anyway, he said that the windows were about the size of coconuts. So, this is maybe like counter to his argument. I don't know. The farther the plane gets, look at how much bigger the coconut is and how much smaller the windows are. The windows were the size of coconuts. I think he meant, the plane was like right there in his face. So anyway, you play with that idea, and it's 20 minutes. And so I've really got to sum up here, and I'm sure I'm forgetting probably some things. I didn't even show you my book. If I can get to that real fast, I'll show you my book. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please tell all your friends and all that type of thing. And I'll it's just kind of, next time it's going to be on parts. Yeah, because that comes after this one. This is section 1 on people, on witnesses, and next one will be a section 2. But this is my book section on it. This is witnesses. The section, chapter 1 is Gulf of Thailand to Maldives. Maldives group and so, Strait of Malacca fishermen and such, lady passenger. There's previous videos on these. I switched it where chapter 3 is now chapter 1 and so on, kind of evolves. But Gulf of Thailand and Maldives. There's the coconut guy. Focus isn't working here. That's at 22. 25 is about kind of really the max, because it takes me forever to upload and so on. I don't know why I can't get it focus. I have to just stop for a minute or something. I'm not going to show it, I guess. Oil platform worker. Thailand details. Hendry is the name of the fisherman that the coconut guy, I think. Hendry. No. Hendry is a lady that saw the plane from satellite imagery or something like that. And I tend to believe the witnesses over satellite imagery. I think that there's either like a parallax where they're looking in one place but the plane's in another place, or it's just flat out wrong. They're seeing, just a discoloration in the water, thinking that it's a plane or something like that. I can't even read this. I don't know why she's not focusing here. Camera's not focusing. One lady. This is the Maldives. Random people in the Maldives. There was 2 different groups of people on the Maldives, 2 different islands. One of the islands is that one long skinny one with no people on it that I think that the plane may have been trying to land on. That the captain Zahari was maybe trying to make a forced landing on the thing with sort of like either either a hydraulic problem or a fly-by-wire problem, but a control problem where he just simply couldn't control the flight to land it on a runway anywhere, and no radio communication. What a problem that would be. Anyway, name of my book sardonically is right up here, The Joy of Air Travel. Strait of Malacca fishermen. I guess that's going to have to be it. Till next time, have a good day. Thanks for watching. So long, James.